Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Alisha Delancey. I am a senior partner here at Fourlane, and today we are going to be discussing purchase orders in QuickBooks Enterprise. Okay, so purchase orders, kind of a very broad topic, right? I want to be able to show you guys today why we need to use them, when we need to use them, what are some benefits of using purchase orders in QuickBooks Enterprise. Some of those benefits can be related to inventory, job costing, the capabilities of dropship. There's some advanced features that are really cool, and our reports. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and dive in to our QuickBooks sample file. I also want to make sure that if you have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and ask those. You can do that right in the chat, and I will try to get to those throughout our time together today. So let's look at turning on purchase orders, using purchase orders in QuickBooks Enterprise. I am in QuickBooks Enterprise 2024, so the latest version. If you are not in it, that is where I would recommend you be. Okay. How do we turn on purchase orders? Well, our first step that we want to go to is we want to go Edit, Preferences, and inside our preferences and items and inventory, we want to go to Company Preferences. So the Company Preferences, we will have that ability to turn on inventory and purchase orders and make those active. Now, a new feature that a lot of people may not know is available is a linking and track sales order lines with purchase orders. So that is a new feature. Okay, we aren't going to go through that sales process to purchase orders, but I did want to point this out because that is a newer feature that if you haven't explored, it is worth exploring. Okay, if you do things like, I have a lot of clients that they will place an order with their supplier based off of a sales order to their customer. So that's really good if you are in that situation. This linking and this new feature might be your new best friend. Okay, so a purchase order is definitely a type of transaction where I've had customers ask me, well, I don't want to use purchase orders because it removes my inventory. So I do want to just remind everybody that estimates, sales orders, and purchase orders, those are non-financial posting transactions. Okay. So if I use a sales order, I am not pulling inventory out of the system. I am just showing that I am ordering it. All right. Okay. The purpose of being able to use purchase orders, right, is so that we can have an official document that we're going to send to our suppliers, and that's where they can send us back order acknowledgements. And those order acknowledgements from our suppliers can be attached to our document in the system. And we can also have confirmation for rates. So definitely something that if you aren't doing that, I would highly, highly recommend it. Okay. Right. So creating a purchase order is pretty easy, right? It's pretty easy. When we go in and we want to make sure that we have a customized template so that it has everything that we want on it, we can manage our templates. We do have more webinars, and so make sure that you attend the template modification webinar to get more information on that. But being able to customize your purchase order, if there's other things like, you know, color or any weight, maybe size, and we need to add those custom fields, that's exactly where we would want to do that, okay, is in the template. Okay, so today we're going to create a purchase order for some inventory parts. Inventory is definitely one of the inventory management. Using purchase orders is definitely one of the benefits, right? Ensuring that I know when things are going to come in, when I should expect them, right? What quantity I have ordered, what quantity is still on back order, okay? So I'm gonna place an order. I'm also going to go through each one of these fields up at the top. And so our classes at the high level, right, of our purchase order, I can select where I want this entire purchase order to be classified, okay? So not only do I have the ability to class the entire order, but I also have the ability to classify the items, right? So today we're gonna put this to our automatic pull systems. If we need to use dropship, this is definitely where we would want to select if we are doing this for a customer, okay? And it will go ahead and populate as long as our customer job that we select has an address, a ship to address, it will automatically populate for us. Okay, so now we see our ship to here, right? We have our expected date, which is important when we are trying to make sure that we are ordering material in a timely manner to fulfill our orders to our customers. Okay, so now I'm going to go fill out the body of my purchase order. So the item list is my first thing in my body of my purchase order. You have the ability to find and select items, can use the categories in order to narrow down the items that we're trying to find. Right? This is on most like purchase orders and sales orders, you can always use this. Right? If you haven't used the find and select before and you've got a really long item list, definitely take a look at it. It can be super helpful. So today, I'm just going to select a few different items that we want to order. Okay, I'm going to add all of those items at one time. Default shows that I added one quantity based off of those selections. So if I need to go in and update how many items I need to order, I can do that right in the screen, okay? So we're just going to add 100 of some of these things. One of the big things that I want to get to next is our customer that populated. So I select a dropship customer here, and it automatically, when I brought these items in, it automatically added that customer. So if you are doing job costing inside of QuickBooks, this is really, really important. This is one of the biggest things that people forget to do when they're trying to do job costing. You want to tie back our purchases so that we can get our actual cost allocated to our job. Okay, and it starts with the purchase order and goes through item receipts to the bill, right? Then it shows up on our reports. So if you're doing direct ordering for a particular job, this is where it would tie back. Okay, this is where you want to code that. Our template here has our manufacturing part number. Okay, so sometimes we have a different internal part number than our supplier has. So if we need to include that, that can be included here, right? We've also got our dollar amount per item. And then if you see in the received column, because I'm just now placing this, right? The received column all says 0, and then my received status is going to be open. These are some advanced features, right, inside of QuickBooks Enterprise. You have those if you have the Platinum and Diamond subscription. So doing things like receiving, right? If we are using the purchase order dashboard, okay. So these are helpful and definitely can show where we are at any point in time, okay, with our purchase order. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. So my vendor, right? My vendor, I can email this directly from the system, can email my purchase order, can email a batch. So if I am creating a ton of purchase orders today, and I'm going to send out, 100 plus purchase orders, I can select email later, and all of my purchase orders that I've completed and created today, I can email the batch, and individually, each one of my suppliers will get their individual purchase orders straight from QuickBooks. Okay, so I don't have to print them and scan. I don't have to one by one send it to my suppliers. I can email using the batch. All right, I do want to show you guys the journal entry behind this non-financial posting transaction. Okay, so the accounts that our items are coded to. Our very first one is purchase orders. That is a non-posting account that QuickBooks creates. And so although my items are inventory items, it is not affecting my inventory quantity and value at this point. Okay, just so everybody sees this. All right, so now that I've got my purchase order, right, I want to be able to go look at a couple of things inside the system, right? And if you use, I always like to use the tabs at the top. If we use our tabs at the top and we go to reports, you have the ability to look at quick, already standard, I call them standard canned reports in QuickBooks. Okay, so I can do a open purchase order report. We always joke around with my clients that there's 75 ways to get to the same place in QuickBooks. Whatever way works best for you, that is how you should use it. But a lot of times people will come into reports, go to purchases, and go to open purchase orders. Okay, you can actually do that. It's the same report. You can do that from the actual transaction. Okay, this is showing you everything that you have open at the summary level in your current QuickBooks file. Right? The drill down capabilities inside of QuickBooks, which I love, right? I don't have to go run another report. I can literally just double click. Ooh, let me take this off to email later. My sample file. Double click this. I should have saved it. And now it's on the screen for me. I have to go find it underneath the vendor, easily get to it, okay? Another thing that I can do is I can see by vendor. This is a really quick, easy canned report. So if I want to see my purchases by vendor, I have a summary report that I can see, and I have this detailed report that I can see. The last time that I ordered something, right? And it's showing on the screen for me. Easy access. All right. There's the ability to do approvals, so PO approval workflows. I don't know how many of our individuals that are on the webinar today use this, but inside of QuickBooks Advanced users, we'll call them those Platinum and Diamond users, you have the ability to do a workflow approval with purchase orders. Okay, I know this isn't, everyone doesn't use this, but it is becoming more and more of an ask of my clients. So I want to make sure that everyone knows that this feature is available. Right? An email goes out, can get approved, and then we can send it out. Right? If I go to the vendor center, right, I have the ability now to see my vendors like I always had. Now I can see my transactions. So another way to go look at our purchase orders is looking at our vendor center in the transactions tab and being able to see and run reports, drill down, open transactions. Okay. You also have build tracker. Can easily come in, click on purchase orders. In my purchase orders, I have the ability to do batch action. Right? Okay. How many of us have purchase orders sitting out there with a couple of pennies on them? Like, oh my goodness, I do not want to go one by one and close and mark them as closed. So if you don't walk away with anything, maybe this will be a time-saving tip. You can batch close purchase orders right here. So select them, come right here, close purchase orders, and it automatically closes those so they fall off of our reports on open purchase orders. Okay. All right. Want to be able to show you this linking really fast because I think that this will be helpful. So a lot of my clients with inventory, let's go create a new one real fast. I always pick on my lost wages store. With inventory, maybe I need to order very specific items for a client. And on my item list, if I have everything set up properly, right, which means I've got my preferred vendor, I've got my min and max, right? I do have the ability to run my stock status report by item or by vendor, and I can easily auto create POs. Everything checked here is my demand, right? It is telling me based off of the formula and my min and max, what I have on hand, either reserved for a sales order or an assembly. This is what I have available. So these are the things that I need to order. Can auto create POs by clicking that lovely button. Now I have the window to be able to come in. I can change vendors here. Can also add, if I wanted to add more, almost like an Excel worksheet, right? I could add more. Tell the system, create POs. Get a pop-up box about items and classes. I can classify those here. Sample file, I have defaults to the future, so you can see I auto create POs a lot. But now the POs that I created today, I can send these out. Okay. So that is different than ordering based off of a particular sales order. Auto create POs is a lifesaver. If you are currently today manually entering in POs, let's see if we can find a better way for you. Okay. So I'm going to link these POs together. This is that new feature I was talking about, the purchase order and the sales order. And so this, I wouldn't need to have the auto create POs because this is going to be the scenario where I'm creating an individual purchase order for an individual order. So I'm going to click the button, create purchase order. Now I have the ask. Is it going to be for all items or for selected? And if I want to drop ship to my customer. So I'll go ahead and say drop ship and for all. And now my preferred vendor automatically shows up. I've got my drop ship in. I also see my sales order down here, 8814. I can save it. I can send this to Anderson's Hardware. Okay. If I save and close this, I now come back to my sales order and I have a linked PO and the actual number sitting right here. Okay. Pretty awesome. Sorry guys, I was trying to read this question real fast. Any tips on setting min and max? Absolutely. So I will go hit that real fast. I like to go to the item list in this manner. What are we talking about when we are saying min and max? And so what we're talking about is in an item or an assemblies, inventory assemblies master item record, you will see the reorder point for this 50 is showing the min, and this column is the max. Okay, there's a couple of different ways to do this. Individually, one by one, is the old school manual way. Right? It's always fun to do that. Or we can go to add, edit multiple items, have my inventory parts. Sorry about that, it was on my wrong screen. And so we have reorder points, right, that we can come over here and we can set. So this file has sites turned on. So quantity on hand by site, site reorder point min, can add that here. Okay, can add the site max. So many things added to this. Come all the way down. And I can easily edit and add here. Okay. I will just go back to this real fast and just let you guys know, if you ever try to get to a 0 and your min and max isn't, or your min isn't allowing you to get to a quantity on hand of 0, try to use a -1 on the reorder point as a min. Okay. All right. Well, I hope that today some of the things that I showed you has been helpful. I also just want to share being able to use our purchase orders reporting at the job level and at a detailed level. You have standard canned reports. Don't go manually create them, right? This is open purchase orders at the detail level. And if you want the item in the body of this report so you can see that, you can easily customize this and add the item name and the item description. And if you have any custom fields on your purchase order, you can add those here, and then you can easily see the item and the item description on this report. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us today. See you next week.